Ever have one of those days that spirit, the universe, whatever, hits you right in the face with a pie? I've had that happen in real life. When I was 17, I got to work in the circus in Hawaii. I lived on a ranch, and a woman that boarded a few of her circus animals. Um, she had a zonkey, which was half zebra, half donkey, and then a lovely little white pony that danced, and did the hula and a couple other things and whatever else, and a llama, which me and the llama did not get along, and I forgot what else she had. And so I got to go to that to I got a free trip from California to Hawaii to work in the circus for 3 weeks. Um, hey there, Shonda, beautiful soul. Welcome, welcome. I'm so glad to see you here. Let me pop the chat out so I can have you up front and close. I was sharing my day because I learned a lot about myself today. Anyway, backtracking to the whole pie in the face thing as life kind of comes up to you. Apparently, it's tradition in the circus on the last night of a show that they take cream pies, literally it's just a paper plate with whipped cream on it, and they target certain people in the circus and the show with a pie in the face. So I made arrangements to get one guy that was giving me all kinds of grief during my 3 weeks there. And little did I know he had plans for me too. So as I come in the parade, I get a pie in the face. And the ringmaster, who I just thought was the sweetest man, he got it in the face. So we just gave each other a big old hug and a kiss. I was 17 and just laughed about how we were just a mess. And then I marched in the parade with whipped cream on my face until I got to get back out and clean up. So anyway, so today I went to a new chiropractor, and we've had prior to this been talking about things like fear and how it can immobilize you, but also too how being in states of stress affect your health and affect your health in long term. It affects the way you think, the way you respond, the way you judge. Um, and so in relating some of my life history to the chiropractor, a couple things came up that were very traumatic for me. Hey, Mulan. Mwah! And it was very difficult for me to even speak on it. I immediately felt it in my body. I felt like somebody was giving me just a slight little bit of electrical zzz. And so I felt it especially in my joints, my elbows mostly, and then my shoulders and my knees. Excuse me, forgot to get water. But especially in the solar plexus. And so it was bordering on a panic attack without it going into it. It was just in my awareness. And something that Angela and I have been looking at is a thing that they call the emotional code. And it talks about how we can have trapped emotions that we don't even know are there, that affect our health, that affect the core essence of our health. And this was just kind of confirmation, because there was no reason I should be able to talk about something that happened even before age 7, where I have no memory of my life. I can't even identify to a picture of myself as, yes, that's me. There's no emotional tie to it. I've just told that's me, and okay, I'm taking your word for it. So anyway, there was just stuff that came up, and it was a eye-opening confidence that I am on my right path for healing my body, healing my emotions, my mental state, whatever. We're all a little bit loopy. And if you haven't already been introduced to my outlook, everything happens for a reason. There is no accidents. Sometimes it's synchronistic, that they're right in sync. Like, this happens, and then this comes along, and they're in perfect harmony. That's really good, Shonda. Really, really good. You might look at trying some Qigong. It's part of the Chinese medicine, ancient, traditional Chinese medicine, and it's kind of a martial arts move, and it's very relaxing, but it's also very energizing and very healing. Very slow moves and stuff, and it's cool. Angela loves it. I'm going to ask everybody if you could please smash the thumbs up for me. I am a struggling artist, and I am trying to really make a go of this channel. I have a message. It's not going to be for everybody. Well, technically it's for everybody, but not everybody's going to receive it. And when they're ready, they will. And I'm good with all of that. Thank you, Shonda. I love you. Mwah. Ooh, that was loud even for me. But realizing how there is so much more to us than meets the eye. We have this physical body, but science has proven and shown that there is an electrical body. And then yesterday, we started our silent minute night. No silent minute, but we talked for an hour. An hour and a half later, or no, just an hour later. I wasn't planning on it, but I went to Master Ko's. Oh, thank you, beautiful. I went to Master Ko's meditation last night, and I was so wired. It was like 10 cups of coffee, but I felt phenomenal. It was like everything positive was up, like somebody just gave me the golden ticket. And then after about an hour of our talking and stuff, it's like all of a sudden, oh, okay, I'm done. Toast. There's no more to me. Okay. And shortly, if you haven't had an opportunity, Mulan, to see Master Ko, there's actually tons of information on him. Paul, how are you, brother? I'm so glad you made it. But I recommend him wholeheartedly. He is not a namby-pamby, hold your hand kind of teacher. He's been on this path for over 3 years. He's very, good. He's very, direct and to the point. He started life, well, he didn't start life, but he started his life as a engineer. So he's got that very logical, has to have everything outlined, this, and this is why that. Not, trust me, this is how it is. And I like that about him. And he also tells you point blank, if you don't like the way I teach, find somebody else. And you know, oh cool. Well, I have to go over there. I don't know if I've ever visited Frugal. I love Mama. She's got such a sweetheart. But anyway, I recommend checking him out. Masterco.org is his website, and then Masterco on YouTube. He does 6 meditations a week on YouTube. He's in California, and so it's noon Texas time. That's puts it 10 a.m. California time. And then in the evening, it's 6 p.m. California time, so it's 8 p.m. Texas time. Hello, my beautiful sister. Angela's in the house. Um, but last night's session was amazing, and very quick. Hey Cam, there's my brother. He does not. I don't know. He's very rapid fire, and so taking notes sometimes is kind of difficult because obviously it's a live stream and it's hard to pause. But that Prosperity Zen that he did last night, which ran almost 2 hours, I have the replay link that I will be happy to send to anybody. If you send me an email, let me write this down. Send me an email and I will share it with you. He's saying to do this 7 times, 7 nights. Everything is about 7 in this. 7, even in the Bible, is a very important number. Mama, you've made it. How are you doing, sweetheart? It is a little chilly in here. So back to the pie in the face. Today's pie in the face was very eye-opening. I was just explaining for those that just arrived that I had, hey Daniel, how are you? I had, life every once in a while throws a pie in our face. And so I had that experience today when I went to this new chiropractor. I am very aware of my body and what goes on and what makes me twitch. I can, I was trained as a body detective. Long story, we'll go there another time maybe. But so I'm aware of like gallbladder's not very, very happy with me today. Oh, no, wait, that's kidney over there and, whatever. And on my way to the doctor's, which was another reason that I was getting the pie in the face, was that as I was going to the chiropractor, I was thinking about, oh, what if they are expecting a mask? Because I do not wear a mask. And I won't wear one. And so then the thought came over about the mask, and even just to take my hand and place it over my mouth can cause me to start to have a panic attack. So I went into that diatribe in myself about this, going there, and then realized I could feel this. If you ever been out in the heat and the heat makes your skin prickly, that's what it was feeling like. And so in that awareness, like, oh, great, now you're putting yourself to where your blood pressure is going to be up because they're going to take the blood pressure and da-da-da. I just berated myself the whole way over there. It was like, you silly woman, look what you did to yourself. So anyway, meditation is great. And if you guys are sitting in a chair, please cross your ankles. If you're kicked back on a couch or in a bed, whatever, please cross your ankles and just relax. We have a visitor. You're too early, child. Okay. Um, what? What? No, no talking. No, I don't know what you want. You were just outside, child. Come on. Say hello. Be nice. Be quiet. Chill out. So anyway, where was I? Crossing the ankles. So one of the things that you guys um, probably missed out on last night, or was it the night before? It was the night before, I think. We were talking about the ankles and stuff. When I get up in the morning, my first thing is get my coffee and come to the computer and sit down, and I start to study. Um, and I try to do it in hour bites so that I'm not glued to the chair, and I get up and I walk. And of course, we have these guys who tell me, yes, like Garbo, except for she doesn't want to be alone. Unless you're trying to throw her outside. Then she wants to be alone. What are you wanting now? The two of you are being so mean. No ganging up on me. Okay, yes, I love you. I know you are. um, but so crossing your ankles. There is a thing called brain gymnastics. It is great for any age. But you'll see that they will do it for people who either have had some sort of like an accident, brain damage, stroke, uh, learning disabilities, and, cognitive problems, uh, recovering after an accident, and the slow road to recovery. Doesn't have to be slow. Child. So here you have this medium line, right? And your left side of the body is governed by the right brain, and your right side of the body is governed by the left brain. I was confusing myself. So you may be right-handed, but it means that you are left-brained or left brain dominant. But that isn't always true. Some people were born to write left-handed, but forced to write right-handed. My husband is one of those. And being ambidextrous, there is still always a dominance on one side or the other. But like years ago, when I had done some kind of test for it, I was like 49-51. So I was 51% left brained and 49% right brain, as close as you could get to 50-50. But so here we go. Whenever you're doing stuff with your left hand, the right brain is controlling this. But when you move over here, and now you're doing this over on this side, now both hemispheres, the right and the left brain, become synchronized. They start to work together. There starts to be this in tandem, right? So some of the exercises that you may see people do is marching in place, but they tap the right knee with the left hand, and then they tap the left knee with the right hand. Holding her and trying to talk about both hands is making my brain tongue-tied because I can't use my right hand. And being Italian, plus I also do sign language, so sometimes I may sign a word just because it's normal for me to do that. Anyway, and you are family, and you know that. So try to get an Italian to talk. Tie their hands up, and they'll be quiet because they can't do it. I'm proof of that. Anyway, so the reason why I have you crossing your ankles is because it does a few things. It helps your entire nervous system to relax. It calms you down, so thereby it lowers brainwave frequency. You can get out of beta and go down into a low beta or alpha. And it also helps you to learn better because you have the synchronizing going on between both hemispheres. And then it just relaxes your heart. So it's all just very soothing. About 3 to 5 minutes is all it takes to really bring that relaxation into it. But if you have a child who's studying, let them cross their ankles. They will learn better and they will retain better. Some really cool, interesting facts. You're going to, maybe you won't. I'm obsessed with the human brain. My biological mother passed away with West Nile encephalitis. I watched her go from a bright, articulate, well-spoken, well-educated woman with a lot to say to a very frightened, aware that she should know what's going on, but she doesn't. People knew her name. I had to put her in a home for a couple of years. And people knew her name and talked to her, and you could tell she could rationalize that. Well, they must know her, but she'd wake up every morning and and completely throughout the day not know who any of them is. And I can't honestly say she ever knew who I was her last year of life. She'd just smile, but it was a scared child smile. And then my grandmother had dementia. So anything with the brain is extremely fascinating to me. Myself, I had a fractured skull and concussion when I was 11, and I was blind and deaf from it. So I had momentary, I don't know how many days, brain damage. It affected the optical nerve, but also the auditory nerve. So I was in limbo, in a strange place. But I feel that I was blessed. I was protected, because when the accident happened, they literally turned me off before I ever came in contact with her. I wasn't even falling off the horse yet, just starting to lean back a bit, and they shut me off. And it wasn't until they had done whatever they did to me in the hospital. I reacted. I spoke out. I cursed. I was 11. I did cuss, but the little one that was functioning the body sure did. And my mom never let me forget that. Oh, goodness. Well, I'm so glad that I get to hear your voice now, Paul. You have a lot to say and a lot to offer. Apparently you do too. Anyway, there's so much more to us than meets the eye. There is a machine called a magnetoencephalograph that can measure the heart's electromagnetic field. And when we were talking a couple days ago about this, I said that, they've measured the heart being 12 feet, this energy field. So like 6 feet to either side of our body. But in states, okay, Shonda, in states of, we're going to call it heightened sensitivity, people who are deep in meditation, they've been able to measure it up to 9 meters. 9 meters. Oh my goodness. I was going to share a video, but I think I'm going to wait until the weekend to do it, because I want to get more. I want to fine tune exactly what parts I want to share, but I'm going to at least share parts of the information with you. The video is cool, so we'll share screen. Yes, yes, I love you. I love you. Um, and it's about our brain. So when you learn things, right now with our ankles crossed, we're assimilating easier. We're, hey, Annie, it's okay. I love you, baby girl. We're assimilating easier. We are relaxed. This is chill. Get your cup of tea, get your cup of coffee. I'm not going to argue. um, Grab a cat, grab a dog, grab a kid, grab a stuffed animal, and just relax. Um, so anyway, where was I going? I completely derailed myself. Figures. Um, so when we learn things, we have 100. Okay, we have 100 billion neurons in our brain. And you know how they always, told us, well, you only use 10% of your brain? It's really a misnomer because we use 100% of it. But the neurons in the brain only take up 10% of the gray matter, of the brain itself. So less than we were, I don't know, who knows. But anyway, so here's the cool stuff. 100 billion neurons, and one neuron has 10,000 to 40,000 connections. If you take 100 billion sheets of paper and stack them up, that's as far, or that's as tall as going from Los Angeles to London. Can you believe that? That's in our head. I found that fascinating. I also found it utterly fascinating that if you took a grain of sand size bit of gray matter from our head, that within that there was some 100,000, or I forgot exactly now. I know I wrote it down. Let me see what I wrote. Okay, there's 100,000 neurons with over 1 billion connections in a grain of sand worth of our gray matter. See, we are smarter than we think. We are capable of so much. Yes, yes. So you may ask, what does all of this have to do with the silent minute? Because we know that the whole purpose behind what we're doing is to share our hearts, our souls, because we are all one energy. We are all one love, to our family, to our neighbors, to our hometowns, our countries, our pooches who talk back to us. Um, but so you really are more than meets the eye. And some people, it's like, well, how could my well wishes, my prayers, my thoughts, how could that change? But it does. And even though we're in different areas, we may be 10 miles apart, we may be 1,000 miles apart, but in this moment our awareness places us, as I just bite my tongue, places us in the exact same place. Our energy connects, our hearts connect, our souls connect, and we can share the love for our country, the love for our fellow man, the desire for peace, the hope, the prayers, the wishes. We can do all that together just by taking a moment taking some nice, easy breaths. And it's our intent that we share our voice, that we open space to allow divinity, the divine, grace, whatever, Gracie, um, to take place, to blanket our country, every man, woman, and child, in hope, in love, in goodwill, in courage, passion. I was reminded tonight that, and this was something that Paul and I have discussed, we're going to do a talk. It was, Paul, what was it called again? Was it Spirit Talk or Talking Spirit with, or talk? I don't remember. I know it's with Paul and Soul, but I don't remember. I have to look it up because I forget. Oh, I had you right there. Silly child. Spirit Talk with Paul and Soul. That's what it was. The other one was Coffee, Tea, and Soul. That was the one that I was going to do. But Paul and I are going to do the Spirit Talk with Paul and Soul. And because the funny thing is, so we've got how many religions? How many points of view? And a lot of people, it's like, well, my religion's the only religion. And it's like, no, it really isn't. It's very personal to each and every person. Ultimately, though, different expression. I was listening to someone this evening that was talking about Buddha. And now and then you have Buddhism. But Buddha wasn't a Buddhist. And then talking about Yeshua. And Yeshua wasn't a Christian. We placed those labels upon them. We created that in honor of them, to follow their footsteps, to be like them. That's what Christian really means, is to be Christ-like, not anything else. Child. Really? And then the tail wags. But anyway, that's not the point of the talk. It was just that I was reminded that we're all on the same path. We're all on the same path to find who we are, to love and care for one another, to be more than just a blip on the radar, or what's that thing called? A road bump, speed bump. There we go. We want the best for one another. We want the best. Okay, cool. But if we're genuinely living and walking our path, and I'm very eclectic. In my 50 some odd years, I have studied a multitude of different paths, and even though the words are different, they still go to the same source. It's just a different name, and it's still the same thing. And it's about love and loving one another and caring for one another and being the ear when somebody needs that out. Sometimes we just need to know that our existence is not for nothing. We come in each other's life to deliver a message and to receive a message, or deliver a lesson, receive a lesson. That doesn't mean it's always a pleasant message, and it doesn't mean that it's always a pleasant lesson. But it's a lesson nonetheless. Um, we are not alone. We're never alone. We have our ancestors with us. We have the love of our friends and our family with us, even if we're miles apart. I know that Cameron and Angela and Annie and Paul, and we have each other's back. We love each other. You know, Mama and Buddha, who's I don't think is here tonight. You know, everybody, we have each other's back. And that's because we are all of the same family. Absolutely, Annie, they're never lost. They're never lost. What we as okay, so we as Westerners, most people are of the inclination that, you know, death is a terrible thing, and when we lose a loved one, we're heartbroken and we hurt so badly. And the truth of that is that we're hurting for that touch, for that hug, for that embrace, for that kind word, for um, that smile. Close your eyes, touch your heart. They're right there, and they'll smile right back at you. They'll even bop you on the head. Walter might even drop a book on your foot. I mean, they're here, but more importantly, they're also within us. There's a thing that it does, Annie, but maybe in time you'll come to realize that no matter what you do, they're always there anyway. You possess, literally, you possess 50 trillion cells that your grandmother is in because she helped to make you. You know, simple genetics speaks of the fact that the genes, those cells that made your mom and dad, were made by your grandparents, excuse me, and your great grandparents and your great great grandparents and blah 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 blah. Um, they're with you. They don't go away. You know, I'm not sure what Paul's got planned for our first show uh, on our spirit talk, but I imagine it's going to be wonderful. And because there are so many different paths to get to the same place. Because remember, strip away all the skin, and what do you have? Strip away all the religion. What do you have? You have a soul. And we're all souls. We all come from source. We all come from the great creator. We all come from God. We all come from divine, universe, whatever language that you relate to. Yes. Now that's cool, Annie. That's really cool. You know, who knows? We may talk about orbs. But there's some things that people get afraid of because they don't understand. And it's a sad thing that we either demonize something that um, We either demonize what we don't understand, thinking, well, it possibly can't be of any good or any higher. Gotcha, Paul. Um, and it's judgment. We're not supposed to judge, but we're the only ones that do it. We judge ourselves. We judge everybody. If you're not wearing the same clothes, if you don't go to the same church I do, you don't go to the same synagogue I do, you don't read the same book I do, the messengers come in different forms. You don't know what the messenger's going to look like. They could be a bum. They could be somebody from another country who isn't even skilled in your language, and yet they're teaching you something. I am so afraid that she's going to stick her nose in my mouth because she's done it before. Or she sticks her nose in my nose. And it's a pointed little nose. Really? Gracie Ann. No, I don't know what the two of you want. You guys were just out not even 10 minutes before we started. Children. So anyway, have it. Bob's your uncle. The next time you see something, don't let that fool you. There is always something she's wanting. She didn't get much of a nap with Mommy today because I wasn't home. But I did nap after I came back from the chiropractor. Because I'm tired. Stress really takes a lot out of you. And just by thinking of the junk that I went through that created 35 years ago an incident, and it's still stuck in here. Still stuck in this energy, stuck in my body. And I don't know. I think because, Angela and I have been talking and sharing information about that emotion code and other stuff, that now this stuff is like bubbling up to the surface and getting in my face. Like, okay, are you ready to deal with this now? Let's get rid of this stuff. That, or it's, the meditations with Master Co, because there is a lot of energy moving in his meditations, and using pranic healing, he's teaching everybody how to remove some of these blockages and some of these caltrops that we've set up for ourselves. And instead of cursing the situation, I'm thankful, because now I'm aware, I could actually feel where that was sitting in my body. Okay, that gives me a target. Before it was, I know it's there, I just don't know where it's at. And I guess I couldn't be bothered to go hunting. And Angela was asking earlier, because I was talking about this chiropractor that I went to today, and that he knows EFT. And it's like, and I know EFT, but it doesn't work on me when I'm doing it to myself. Not every, for lack of a better term, I don't care for it, but not every new age, holistic, natural, energetic, energy, quantum physics, hoo-ha works on everybody, because our brains are wired differently. We have different points of view. We have different life experiences. And depending on the level of the trauma, a person who was raped um, may experience a certain level of discomfort in discussing or whatever. Can I put you down now? Will you let me put you down? And will you behave and not do anything? Like, how about you go to your hole? Can you do that? We're going to try. All right, go on. Go to your hole. Go on, get in. Thank you. All righty, sorry about that. So anyway, you could take 3 people side by side who each had the exact same type of trauma. Doesn't mean that the trauma affected them the same way. And so they'll relate to that trauma differently. It will be in a different place in their body, and it will be either more or less accessible to being removed. One person, they may only have to go through some cleansing routine, I'm going to let once or twice. Somebody else may take years to get over it. And then somebody else, there's just really no level to remove. It's kind of like it was no big deal. I let it go. I'm okay with it. What little traces are like, okay, well, we'll just pull out the splinter and throw it in the violet flame and we're good. I know that a lot of my traumas that I experienced were very deep, and apparently at 62, they're now ready to vacate the premises because they're coming up to the surface so much easier. Just to be able to talk about it to myself and feel it versus relating the story to the doctor, which made it come up again. It's eye-opening. It's like, okay, now I know where the enemy resides. Now I know what the enemy is, what it feels like, what it looks like, and I can go after it and remove it. So my gratitude for the day, first big one, is you guys. I am so very grateful and thankful for you, for your support, for your love. The thumbs up makes me feel like I have hope that my channel will grow and become worthy to teach and to help others along their paths and to share anecdotes and healing journeys. And I go back to hope. But there's hope. There's always hope. Never lose hope. Hope is a powerful word. Gratitude is important. Be grateful. When you wake up in the morning, touch yourself. I am grateful for my body. I am grateful for my heart. I am grateful for the breath I can take. I am grateful for this little brain that just keeps going and doesn't stop. I'm grateful for the ability I have to share. I am grateful for the ability I have to learn. I am grateful for you being in my life, for your love, for your support, and for your education, because whether you realize it or not, the things you share teach me. It always gives me another point of view. It always makes me go, I don't believe anybody's path is wrong. That doesn't mean that we don't have elders who have taught us a point of view, right? It's the way they saw the world that isn't right for us. It may have been right for them, but it isn't right for us. Yet we wear it like it's our sweater, our jacket, our shoes. But after a while, we start to realize those shoes are pinching and jacket's too big or it's too small or, and so that tells us that maybe we need to find what our point of view really is. And so being open to listen to even the most audacious and bizarre sounding theories, it's not such a bad thing. It opens you up to new experiences. It opens you up to new possibilities. It opens you up to life because there is so much more to it than meets the eye. You know, recaps over the week was talking about the little girl, the heart transplant, the 7-year-old little girl, if you remember, and you were here that night. And she, after the transplant, she was having nightmares of being murdered. And the mother, instead of writing it off, realized there was something because her child never had such graphic, detailed, down to knowing the face of the man that killed her and the weapon and where the weapon was. So she contacted the hospital. The hospital got in touch with the parents of the other little girl that was murdered. The donor of the heart had been murdered. The police case was still open. The police actually sat with the little girl. They got the description and all the pertinent details. Do you know that they actually caught the man that killed that little girl? There's more to this body than we think. So it's key, don't be closed-minded, that it isn't cut and dry. You know, 100 years ago, well, more than that now, I'd say better than 200 years ago, before the microscope, you know, they didn't know what a cell looked like. Now we know we have 50 trillion of them. Now we know that every cell is capable of 1.4 volts of electricity. That's 70 trillion volts of electricity through our body. And then to know that we have 100 billion neurons in our brain. And we have 40,000 neurites, like small neurons, in our heart. Our heart has brain tissue. Our stomachs do. Makes sense when people say, oh, you know, trust your gut. Oh, your gut knows. My heart's telling me. And now science is actually thinking that the heart has more thinking power than the brain does. We already know it has more energy than the brain does. And the heart does more communication to the brain than the brain does to the heart. And then here's some other things. If you watched last night's meditation with Master Ko, he was talking about how people can sense energy or see energy. And, you know, and way back in the day, you know, hundreds and hundreds of years ago, you know, people would be able to say, oh, you know, you've got a generous heart. You've got a big heart, because they could see how much the energy was. Or heart of gold, because they could see that the heart was so open, so loving, so giving, that it was taking on this gold aura. So there you have it, Toyota. There is so much wonder and magnificence to your being, to you. You are so much more than meets the eye. And you are so worthy of being loved. You are love. From head to toe, you are love. Every cell in your being is love. You're cool beans, you know that? Thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being with me. Thank you for putting up with dogs and their whines. Too bad it wasn't a Barolo or a Cabernet. Yes, I know my jokes fail. Or pale, one or the other. So, Paul, for tomorrow's unveiling, what time are you gonna? Do you know what time you're going to do your stream to unveil the channel? because I would like to be there, and I would definitely like to share out the link. If you have it now, if you don't have it now, don't worry about it. We'll just make sure that we tag all our friends and tell them that come and see us. It's like everybody got so quiet. Now that it's quiet and I'm not pumped, jazzed, talking, that would be a good idea. They're they're now asleep. Maybe they were upset that I was getting pumped or something. I don't know. When I get excited and very energized, obviously I talk quite quickly. Hmm. Well, I would like to know more about the channel and your vision, um, so we can share it out tomorrow night. I'm hoping to be able to go on um, StreamYard tomorrow to share just a portion of this one video. What was fascinating it was seeing the live. I know, Cam, I love you. The live connection when the neurons were reaching for each other in the process of learning something and making that connection. It was 7 seconds. I sat there and counted it. You could see them. One would start to reach out, and then the other one start to reach out, and they had like these fingers, and then they would just kind of do this and grab, and then like wind themselves together, and then you could see stuff going down through the neuron and or through the connections, and it was cool. I was like, wow, it was just amazing. So I wanted to share that and a couple other things from the video because there was some key points that Dr. Joe was talking about that I thought would be good for our community because it opens the door. If you haven't found Dr. Joe Dispenza, um, he talks about his accident in 1986, and I had related it before, but this was like probably the clearest, um, refreshing my memory, relation or relating of the story. And he said that he was riding in the triathlon on the bike and got hit by a truck, and I believe it was four vertebrae that were broken, and then a lot of bone fragments that were pressing against the spine. And so they were pretty much telling him that he was going to be paralyzed, but they had hope if they did this radical surgery, which was literally to shave all of the spine off, put these plates on that, at least he, might be able to sit up or stand or something. Um, but it was the first time I could recall him talking about how he was frustrated and he was angry and had all of these thoughts, like, you know, I'm going to lose everything. I'm going to lose my practice. Do I sell the practice? Do I do the surgery? Do I do it? And then he, thought about, there's my Buddha. Namaste, my love. But he thought about, you know, how if the human mind can think itself sick, it can think itself well. And he went over the course of struggling and getting angry and frustrated and distracted. He'd like go so far and then his mind just wouldn't stay there and it would off and run another direction. And so he was, you know, relating this story, and I thought it was so cool to see that here's the man who is walking on stage talking and teaching people that you are so much more than you think you are, And 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 I think it was the first time I recall him talking about how angry he was, that just frustration because it wasn't coming together. And then he'd go through the depression because I'm going to have to live my life in a wheelchair. And so having this battle, we'll call it the battle between good and evil within himself over this issue. And then finally, after like 6 weeks of trying, and he'd spent 3 hours a day doing this, he finally had like a breakthrough. And he hit that point that he was able to successfully stay in that mental state and view that reconstruction of his spine, seeing each vertebrae whole again and all the pieces back together, and seeing himself walking and moving and all of this other stuff. And then from there, it was another 10 weeks before he was actually up and walking and moving, and then beginning his training again for his triathlons. Or just training. He just speaks of training. I'm assuming it's his triathlons, but he went to training. So you are amazing, because, hello, my love. Welcome. How would we pronounce that? Is that Clémer? But anyway, please thumbs up, guys. I appreciate you. I love the I love the love. I love you. Back to Dr. Joe. So he tells you, when he's showing you, he can do it. And in all of his videos, you can find him all over YouTube. He is in so different joint ventures, different lectures, his own teachings, people who've been to his lectures and shared the videos that they probably shouldn't have taken. There's just all kinds of info there on Dr. Joe. And then, of course, his websites and stuff, and he sells books and things. I do have a book of his, but I'm not going to get up and get it because it's too far to reach, and I'd have to climb over things. I've got it sitting here on my desk, but I've been working on stuff, so I have a ton of stuff sitting here beside me, and I know it would be a disaster. But anyway, he tells stories or relates occurrences of like people who had MS, and they do brain scans at a lot of his events. They will take certain people and they will do a brain scan to see where their thoughts are, where their emotions are, everything. They check the heart brain coherence and all this other fun stuff. And then at the end of or midway in at the end, they'll do more to see, progress, see how today's work has done. They may wear a heart meter for days so that they can see when they go into heart coherence and, and all this other stuff. But he's related stories. There was one gentleman who had 50 tumors all throughout his brain. And at the end of that week-long event, when they had done a scan on him again, all with the exception of like 5 were gone. People who, were paralyzed, or there was quite a few number of people I saw in one of the videos I watched, but they were in wheelchairs. And there was just so much love between these people. Oh my goodness, the love that they shared for one another. And it's like, if you're sensitive, you kind of like feel like you're there and can experience it. The people who crutches, left without their crutches, or the canes, they didn't really need the cane, and just all kinds of different stuff. I remember one woman who had MS, and the scars on the brain were gone. The body is fully capable of regeneration. Whose story are you going to believe? Yours? Or some doctor that tells you you might as well give up? Hey, son, how are you? One of my favorite little anecdotes, little stories, is about a guy, an elderly gentleman who was in the hospital, and the whole family was there because he was dying. He had cancer and all that other stuff. And so the doctor had, called all the family. They were there, and he had already told them that, why don't you just take dad home and let him die at home? Well, in dad's mind, here's the cool thing. In dad's mind, he's like, oh, they're releasing me. I must be better. And so he goes home and he's mowing the lawn, and he's um, gardening, and he's doing all kinds of stuff. And his daughter called the doctor and said, I thought you said he was dying. It's like, what, he hasn't died yet? And it's like, no, he's out mowing the lawn. So they had him come back to check him, and the cancer was gone. And all the reasons, all the things that were going on wrong with him were all gone. So, a spontaneous remission. But he believed that he was released because, well, didn't you send me home because I was cured? And I think that is just the coolest little affirmation that the divine in each of us motivates us. So which is greater? Your belief in something, some greater power, or your fear? Doesn't matter what you call it. We're all one energy. I think it's just so phenomenal, the possibilities, and we're each capable of it. This is just cooler than bean stuff. And I keep talking about beans, I'm going to make myself hungry. Shame on me. So, OG, what's going on with you? Anything special? Frugal Mama, you got anything to share? Buddha? Yankee's got his new channel unveiling tomorrow. Oh, I know I didn't. Let's see. Wait a minute. I have to look it up again because squirrel. So it's the alternating between Paul's channel one week and my channel the following week was the I thought it was also, we had said talking our walk with Paul and Soul, but maybe it came out to Spirit Talk with Paul and Soul. I don't know. I'm still lost, but the once a week I will do I don't know what day yet, I haven't worked on it, but it's going to be coffee, tea, and soul. And it'll be a mixture of just gentle chatting and probably inviting people. So I will, I've got to learn about OBS Studio. I really don't like StreamYard. I know that Streamlabs is out there. So I don't know what I'm going to do. I look to the masters, OG and Paul, and see if they know where would be a good way, or Mama. Any suggestions? I'm open for them. Okay. I don't remember. I'm all over the place tonight. last night's meditation was so powerful, and I tried to do some tonight, but I couldn't get there. I love you, Mama. Thank you. That's so cool. I appreciate it. Spirit Talk with Paul and Soul. So that's what we're going to do. Every other week will be me and Paul the week, and we're going to flip flop. So I'm sure that tomorrow will probably be a day of plotting and writing down and taking notes and figuring out what kind of a schedule we'd like to do. And then the coffee, tea, and soul will be something that I'm going to do once a week. The Spirit Silent Minute, I have not yet felt. Thank you, Paul. I need that. Sometimes I'm guilty. I judge myself. I worry. My biggest fear is offending anybody. And the problem is we can't pick our truths. So the truth that, Spirit talks to me, I have had visions. I have stories to share. So maybe that Coffee, Tea, and Soul might be one of those stories. It's funny if you really think about it. We're all kind of guilty because we may hear of somebody who talks about a paranormal experience. Maybe an angel appearing in their room, or which would be considered paranormal. The orbs, asking grandma to show up, let me know you're here, come over there by the doll. That's a paranormal experience. People hear the word paranormal and they're, and you have to break down the language. The paranormal is just something that's a level different than what we view as normal. And one person's normal is not the same for another. I grew up, I admit, I grew up with spirits in my house. I grew up with Archangel Michael sitting on my bed. Okay, somebody else here then go, this woman's nuts, we're going to leave, go bye, see you later. Doesn't diminish the fact that that's what I experienced. I've got weird stuff up the wazoo I could share that, are either going to make people run screaming or going, oh, really? That's so cool. But, I am working on me. Yeah, exactly. I'm working on me. I'm not working on anybody else. But I am happy. Well, that's not true because I do a lot of healing stuff for everybody else. Mama, just ask Ariel to come. I learned this. I will share this with you. This is going out there, so everybody take it with a grain of sand, the size of gray matter, all those 100,000 connections. Sorry. There was this really interesting guy that I was listening to. And this was years ago. And he was talking about what he did to calling in the angels. And he broke it down, the reasons why. He said it in his manner. And it spoke to me. And so I do it. I'll do it before I go into somebody's house because I do house blessings. I go in, I clear out. You can basically say I chase away the boogeyman. But I'll go in and I'll clear out stuff, businesses, houses. Cameron and we went to the cemetery to do a clearing on a cemetery, and and stuff, and kind of bless some of the headstones and whatever. Uh, we're called to do different things, and not everybody is going to be called to do the same thing. I'm being talked back to. I gotta settle. Wally, Walter, do me a favor. Can you lay down for a few minutes? Thank you. Oof. Um, so back to my story. So the rabbi was explaining that he he called in the angels, and you hear if you remember in the Bible, there's the talk of the right hand of God and the left hand of God. So he explained that he would call in Michael, and he would have, ask Michael to come in, to step within his energy field, and to be his right hand, to be as his right hand, and take his right hand. And then whatever other words that followed, then he would have Gabriel to the left, Raphael behind, and Uriel, or Uriel, however you want to pronounce it, but it's Uriel. He'd have Uriel in front. And then the Shekinah, which in the Hebrew tradition is the mother god. It's the mother of all, because there was a masculine and feminine. It got lost in the translation. Like one of the original, because it's in the Bible twice, but in the original language, the Lord's Prayer, there's one version of it, and I think it's in Matthew. I can't honestly tell that I remember it. I only remember the fact that I went, because its first line is Father, Mother, God, not just Father God. It's our Father and Mother. So it was cool. It was an interesting revelation. When I go to look up things in the biblical texts, I use the Aramaic language, and I use Greek where Greek is applicable. And so, because my husband is a biblical scholar and did his time in seminary, he's my go-to. And then from after talking to him, I will go and look it up, and then I'll go back to him and verify if that's what he recalls from his time, et cetera, et cetera. So anyway, I call in the angels that way. I ask Michael to be as my right hand, to take my right hand and be within my energy. And I ask him to give me strength, to protect me, to heal, blah, 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 whatever words I'm compelled to do. But I will immediately feel like something here, an energy, a shift in the air pressure up against me. And then Gabriel to the left. And I always bless the angels. I bless the angels, and I seal them in perfect light to protect them. I don't know why I do that. That's just what I do. I will have Gabriel behind to the left of me. I will have Raphael behind me to gently guide me forward, to keep me from falling back, to heal me, to give me strength, courage, whatever. Again, protecting the angels, blessing them, sealing them in the light. And then Uriel to carry the light, to light the path, to show me the way. And then the Shekinah to bless all of us, to protect us. So that's kind of one of my routines that I will do. And see, the funny thing is while I'm relating this to you, I'm feeling this pressure on the top of my head, like all of a sudden the cone of silence, if you're old enough to remember Maxwell Smart, coming down. So with Ariel, excuse me, just ask Ariel to be present with you here and now. Because remember, time is our construct. Time does not exist in spirit. What might be a minute for you could be 1,000 years, and vice versa. It could be 20 years for you. Hey, Cruiser. Oh, I love you. So you're not visually seeing something. I just realized little girl snuck out of here. Um, Mama, you experience the sensation, that energy. So that tells you that there is somebody there. Ask them to be energy field. If you feel it closing in upon you, there's somebody there. If you feel even just maybe the air is cooler or the air is warmer, there's somebody there. It's subtle. We're seeing in our human senses. You train yourself to be aware, to feel energies. I paint energy. I can look at people and paint their fields. I love to do that. It's one of my favorite things. But anyway, we all have gifts, varying degrees, varying levels. Um, Sometimes, though, we don't even know we have them. And if you don't know you have it, you don't know whether you have it or whether you don't. But you can learn, you can pick them up, and I'm going to talk about tools for just 1 second. There are a multitude of tools out there to use to fine tune your abilities, your energies, your sensitivity, your awareness. Unfortunately, a lot of people think that the tools are evil. And you got to remember, it's just like a gun. Guns don't kill people. It's the person pulling the trigger. The tool is not evil unless you make it so. So there's another fear thing. I admit I am brazen. I don't fear much of anything. And I don't understand why there's a disconnect. And that's another story for another time. But I don't allow any unsubstantiated fear. Like, okay, a tiger is running at, yeah, I'm going to be afraid. And I'm going to run like all, um, probably won't climb a tree. I'll look for a door. But, it's being sensible. It's being aware of your surroundings. So when you call them in, just pay attention. Do you get that ringing in your ear? Might ring for just a couple seconds and then go away. A little bit of tinnitus, but it's not. That's many people equate that to spirit being present. In 1 Corinthians 12, blah, 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 it speaks about, all gifts come from the Spirit. All of them. And that means even the gifts, those that are deemed evil, those gifts still come from the Spirit. It's just that those people are using them for an alternative. And that's it. That's, I think, 12, 14, somewhere in there. That's wonderful, Cruiser. So you're going to have to come up on our channel one of these nights when we talk. Be aware of, like, maybe you get a little pain, like a little headache. And then just go quiet. Sit with it for a second. Breathe. Breathing is key. And then the pain will go away. And whether you know that is somebody coming in saying, hello, honey, I'm home, or a physical thing going on with you, it could be anything. But it's like, the reason why I brought it up is because I had a instantaneous headache, just right here, one spot. And then as I sat with it, it went away. It could be a confirmation, somebody, whatever. Who knows? I don't ascribe anything to it. So I don't freak out. I don't think, oh my goodness, somebody's here or I'm being punished. None of that. I just quiet. And if I'm meant to get something, it'll come through. So the angels will show up for you when you ask. Angels love to work with people. There is a hierarchy of angels. And a lot of times I cheat. And I say, I ask for the hierarchy of angels to be present with me here and now. And then I will do whatever it is I need done. Yeah, so there you go, Bob's your uncle. I follow a very eclectic path. And I look at everything because you might find truth in it that with maybe just a little tweaking, that it applies. Or at the very least, it helps me to understand somebody else. I think that's one of our greatest failings is the judging of others and ourselves, because I am guilty of that. But the judging of others and assuming that what they're doing is wrong. Unless you are walking in their shoes, you can't know. And there really is a difference between a preconceived notion that something is bad, something is evil, and that it's just another expression of the same thing. Like I said in the beginning, I don't know if you were here, Mama, for it or not, but I was saying that Buddha, which everybody thinks about Buddhism, Buddha wasn't a Buddhist. He prayed to God, but they called it in India different names. Yeshua, or Jesus, wasn't Christian. We gave them those names. Yeshua, which is what his name is, was a Jew. He was Jewish. He spoke Aramaic. And he said, the old laws are dead. He came to tell his people that the old laws were dead. That means that he was spreading a new Hebrew religion, a new Jewish religion. But the Gentiles loved his message. And then they claimed that and claimed him. That's the truth of the matter. That is an undeniable fact. But it's not something that most people know, because if you don't study it, instead of taking somebody else's regurgitation of words that have been translated over 150 different times, I think it's actually a lot greater than that, but and then altered, because I can tell you right now, one of the biggest, and I don't know why, I'm going to be truthful, I don't understand why it gets my goat, but that phrase in the Old Testament, thou shalt not suffer a witch to live. Well, number one, witches didn't exist in that time period, not in the same frame. The word itself didn't exist in that time period. It existed later on when it was put into the book, because we had the Spanish Inquisition and all of them, who anybody that was different or spoke out against the church was deemed a witch. The word witch was actually a negative, like, in a way, I guess you could say, kind of like calling the B word. But so that word didn't exist. And you'll have to forgive me because it's pharmacopoeia, but it's in the original text, it's the word that gave us pharmacy or pharmacist. So it could have been meaning thou shalt not suffer a drug addict to live, or a druggist, you know, but it's where we in our everyday life get pharmacy from, pharmacist. So things were taken out of context and altered, and different words were slipped in. The same thing with sin. In the original, very original text, the idea of original sin did not exist because they didn't have a word, and the people themselves didn't think about it. They didn't have that concept that, oh my goodness, you are born with sin. That was not the message, and that was not the word. It didn't exist. The people that wrote the book at that time didn't even have that in their imagination. So there was no word to describe it. The word was imperfection or imperfect. And think about it. Look at us. We're imperfect. We have one arm longer than the other, one boob bigger than the other, one eye is higher than the other, or maybe smaller than the other, might be a different color than the other. We are asymmetrical. We are not perfectly symmetric. We are not perfect. But I always say we are perfectly imperfect. I am perfect in my imperfection. See, and that's a sad thing, Mama, because if you really ascribe, what do I want to call it? If you want to give any credence to the book, everything was created by the divine, by source energy, by the great creator, by God, Father, Mother, God. All of it. That means the crystals were. And crystals, we have scientific proof of their energy. It's what's in these watches everybody wears. My goodness. It powered radios. Quartz is used in so many things. I love my crystals. One of these, I will show you Hugo. I love stones, right? All kinds of stones. And not to get really way out there for anybody, but I have a black silver sheen obsidian, or is he rainbow obsidian? I'd have to look. It's been so long. But he's about this big. And one day, sitting with him, I just got this very real sense of an intelligence and a name, Hugo. So he's been Hugo for 10 years, 12 years, 13. I've lost count. You have in the story of Moses and Miriam and Aaron, as they walked through the desert, Miriam was followed by a stone, by a rock that rolled, and that rock gave water. And when Miriam died at 126 years of age, the rock stopped giving water. There's so much more to life than we know it, that we give credit. I would love on one of the coffee, tea, and souls, because see, you know, I believe everything happens for a reason, and you're here, and you're speaking stuff, and Cruiser and Paul and oh my goodness, Cameron, Angela, we've got stories to tell that are not the normal, and I think they need to be heard, and they deserve to be heard. There are people who are afraid to speak up because of being judged. There are people who are afraid to speak up because what they do is viewed as outside of the norm, and oh my goodness, well, if it's not the norm, then it must be evil. Um, I'm being poked because it's like I want to share, I don't want to share, judging, blah blah, all that other stuff. A couple years back, I had a very intense experience. I was driving to a friend of mine's event in the evening in downtown Houston. I don't like driving to Houston. I don't like driving to Houston, especially at night. And I was going to my friend Sharon's event. They were going to talk about one of the pyramids that were discovered in Bulgaria. I think that was it. I think it's Bulgaria. And it was the Temple of Love. And there was also the Temple of the Moon and the Temple of the Dragon and the Temple of the Sun out there and all this other stuff. Or pyramid, excuse me. But they found pyramids. And the pyramids are actually older and bigger than the ones in Egypt. Really cool. So anyway, I'm driving, and my GPS has me turn down a different street instead of staying on the main drag and then turning where I needed to go. It took me to a side street that was 30 miles an hour, but then had these huge, at least 3 feet wide, maybe 4 feet. Well, not wide, but yeah, I guess it's wide, and then whatever. But anyway, these really big speed bumps. So you had to go 15 or 20 miles an hour over the speed bump. You just didn't have any choice. And when I went down that road, it's dark. It's a neighborhood. It's quiet. No other cars on the street. I start feeling like my car is filling up with something. There's just this presence, for the lack of a better term, a presence. And I just kind of was like, okay, who's here? And then the sensation of that presence coming in was even more present. And so I said, okay, if you want to blend with me, all right. I give, I'm okay with that. And so then within a second, there was this other sense. And as I'm driving, I have this screen kind of pop in my head. So, double vision maybe, of myself standing wearing a long gold, like marigold kind of skirt and top, so I call it kind of like a goddess dress in a way. So this matronly long outfit, and standing there with my this way with my hands like that, and then speaking to a room of people and saying, this is my grandchild. And from that then came Mother Mary. And so it was by appearance that Mother Mary had come into my car. And I had been told decades before that Mary was always around me. But it was like, I didn't know that experience. I recognized when Yeshua was and when Michael was. I could feel them. I could feel just in general, but I'd never knowingly felt that the Virgin Mary was there. Now, back in 91, when we lived in California, we used to go to this Unity Church, and they had a couple special events. They had what they called All Mediums Night, and that was where people could come in and bring an item, whatever they wanted, and put it in this box that was multi sectioned. And then if you felt like it, you could walk up and go and pick up whatever you were attracted to and psychometrize it, right? Try to read just share what impressions you got. It was, for people to teach. We had a healing night. I would often go up there to lay hands on people and participate in that. And Dorothy, who's the sweetest, tiniest little old lady, she was so cute, um, and just tiny. But she came up. Yes, it is. She came up, and she was the for the church, and she started to pick people to give messages to, and always was, "May I come to you?" It was okay, and then she'd start to say stuff, and she was talking about the woman in blue, and that I had the woman in blue with me, and she wanted me to know that she was there, and that I would know who she was. And I spent years, I'm telling you, who the heck is this woman in blue? Lady in blue, the lady in blue. And the only thing that ever popped in my mind was being a little kid going to Roman Catholic service, and there was the statue standing there, her in her white robes with the blue over the top. And my head who the lady in blue was. But I still didn't put two and two together. So when this happened going to Sharon's a couple years ago, and just kind of floored me, and I honestly don't remember what else transpired on that drive, but I was getting to a main street that I had to cross. And see, I would have had a light if they would have let me stay on that main drag, but no, GPS took me down this dark street with no lights. Um, I said, okay, um, I need to pay attention. I've got traffic that I've got to try to cross. And this was 4 lane or 6 lane, street with just zoomy traffic. And the second I said that, I looked to the left, here comes 2 cars. I look to the right, there's, a car that passes, and I look to the left, there's nothing. Look to the right, there's nothing. This is like 10 minutes to 7 or 7 o'clock at night in downtown Houston. Unheard of. And I was like, oh, cool, thank you. And I roomed across the street, and still feeling in the car, but it wasn't heavy like it was when it first arrived. And then I get to the next street, and again it's zoom, and I'm like, okay, a little bit of help would be nice. And the traffic disappeared. I was able to go down and make my U-turn and go in, and it's like, wow, the lights were in favor. And Mary came again a second time, and that time freaked me out because I was at a um, holistic fair, and I was painting, and I was talking to a woman, and giving her what I was seeing, and explaining, her angels that were with her and stuff. And then I started to feel like my skin was getting thicker. It's the only way I can describe it. So the energy was very present. And as we talked, it was like I went into a little bit of panic mode because it felt like I was not in my body, but I knew I was, just really bizarre, because I was seeing through my eyes, I was talking through my mouth, but I felt I wasn't alone. And I got up and I went out to talk to Sharon, who was absolutely no help. And I thought she would be because she was more experienced with that. And so instead, I went around, I ate something to ground me, drank some water, and I just sat with it. And then I was good. It was okay. And then I started doing automatic writing with it. It was like, what the heck, I'll try. Can't hurt. And so I sat there with the pad. I just put my pen on there, and I just let myself write. And I heard everything coming through, you know. So was it me? Was it Memorex? Um, but I'm writing, and whenever I'd look at the page, the writing was going like this at an angle down the page, not going straight across. And I'd close my eyes and I'd go back to the writing and just scribble whatever popped in my head. And then comes the message, you could open your eyes. And I just sat there and laughed. Spirit has humor, even the Virgin Mary. So it was cool. So I know that I have Mary around, and I call her Grandmother Mary. And I know I have Yeshua around. He's another funny story when he showed up. So, you know, you got to understand we are not alone. And I saw somebody come in, and I think they left. But I'm still grateful that you guys have remained with me. I love your support, and I appreciate you. I really do. This just floats the boat. So I'm going to drag you up one of these days, Mama, and we're gonna have fun talking about crystals and stuff. And Yankee, I know I would like to talk one of these nights about the we people, because do you know how many traditions actually have the we people? Native Americans have the we people. Um, and we can talk about the different tools. I was actually surprised. Somebody, I don't remember who, brought up pendulums and thought that pendulums were evil. And so I needed to explain, or did I? I think I bit my tongue and just kept quiet. I see it as a tool. A pendulum is nothing more than a pen. If I'm going quiet and believing that God, that Jesus, that Mother Mary, that whoever is right. Yes, Africans do too. And we know the Celts do, and the Welsh do, and the Hindi do, and and the Irish, and I think I already said the Irish. I don't know. But yeah, there are little people, uh, Appalachians here in the United States. They believe in little people. Um, Angela was here one night. I'm sure Angela's already gone to sleep. She was leaving here, and it was twilight, right? Just coming dark. There, the sun was setting, and the neighbors across the street. Because I only have really two neighbors. I have the ones directly across the street of me, and then I have a gas station next to me, and then this other guy who's on the other side of the gas station, but a little bit behind. So he's kind of catty corner. And and I'm looking, and if you've ever seen uh, a documentary with flying fish, they have the big long kind of like wings, as they're flying, jumping out of the water, and the way the sun hits them, those wings kind of glow. Really cool looking to watch them. And I'm looking over there, and I'm watching this huge 10, 15 feet of something flying around, and it's doing like this, right? Spinning around and so everything is going in and around each other and and but they looked big. They looked like they were probably this big. Well, number one, birds don't glow. These things glowed. It was like, oh, they're fireflies. Fireflies aren't that big, because they were a couple 100 feet away, and I could see them, and they were large. And birds don't fly in patterns like that. And bats don't glow either. And it was just, I'm like, we got fairies over there. It was cool. And I mean, and you will never convince me that it was fairies, because I watched them flipping around. It was funny. And it must have lasted, I don't know, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. It's okay, Clay. It's okay. I'm glad you're back. We will zap your internet that it stays connected for you, right? We'll all pour good juju. Um, but but see, now, just talking about the little people, look at how many different points of view from different cultures have that same thing. Um, the Dine have it. The Hindi one, I forgot what they're called. Duan, maybe. Um, Chinese also, or Philippine, one or the other, and they're believed to follow you if you are positive and doing good things. They're like your little karma buddies that will follow you around to make sure that you've got good karma going on. Maybe winning the lottery, or finding some money on the ground, or just being at the right place at the right time, getting the job you want to get. Um, so we have unlimited possibilities to share. Look at the pool that we've got right here with 7 people. The pool of knowledge, of experience, and the different points of view. This is going to be fun. I am so looking forward to all that we get to share. Annie can come up and tell her grandma's story with the orbs. And I may put Cameron on the spot. I'm going to have to teach him how to use StreamYard, get him to come up. I never tire of that story about your mom in the trailer at the little table with the curtains and all of that. Or the old man, the grumpy old man, and the fireplace. Don't put anything on that fireplace. So at that, or on that note, if you've not subscribed, please subscribe. I will try to be better about post the upcoming lives earlier in the day, and not go squirrel. And I won't be able to do a community tab. I have for my my old Ren Fair booth, I have a blog that I may resurrect so that there's some kind of, I don't know, got to figure it out. I am on Facebook. I don't do Facebook much, but I could make connections there with anybody that wants to, and then that way I can share when Paul Yankee Southerner is going to go live with his Walking the Path. And yeah. And then if anybody would be interested in participating in upcoming specials that we might do, like the Coffee, Tea, and Soul, I think that would be a fun one-on-one. Tell me a story. Tell me about the time, and fill in the blanks. Don't you think that would be fun? This is a great community. This is the start of something big. I'm loving it. And you, little brother, I'm going to have to make sure that I do it maybe on a Tuesday or a Wednesday night when you are not so tired and you're not off to karaoke or working on the weekend. Because I do intend on dragging your happy tookus up. So let's see. Nope, I don't have it. The book is in the car. Darn it. I will have to remember. Oh, but I can write it in this book. Ha 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 ha. Because this is my taking notes for all my C's for things to share with everybody. Okay, that was Mimi's. I will put this here. So, wrong side. Tuesdays or Wednesdays for the coffee, tea, and soul. And I'm going to make it. I like that, Paul. I really do. That just keeps flowing out of my mouth, walking the path. All paths converge on the same place. Walking the path with Paul. Got it. So do you think 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock, Cam? Which is better? I'm thinking 6 for some reason. Not walking the path. Because your path is the path. Ha ha ha. Like how I did that? 6 o'clock? I think 6 o'clock or 6:30. I'm somewhere in there. But the 6 is what feels right. And then that way, you'd still be able to get to eat, either eat earlier or eat afterwards. Really should eat earlier. I am going to get back on my keto. I am writing a book about it. It's going to be a small little book. Sure, Cruiser, go ahead. We're almost going to close up here. We got like 2 minutes before we're at the 2 hour. I've never done 2 hours before. I learned that I cannot have a community tab, so I can't really share any information. It would have to be on YouTube. And I guess I could make a little group on YouTube, or not YouTube, Facebook, if anybody would like me to do that. And then that way we can just use that as a place to say, we're going live at this time, and we're going live at that, and we can also put a schedule down. And let me write down first before I forget. Frugal Mama. And Cameron. And Clay. Mir. I know. Really? That's okay. I mean, nothing is by chance. Things my teacher taught me, and this is back, I still remember my first time in meditation with Louise at 7 years of age. She told us how we were all connected to the source energy, that we were all part of God. We were all a manifestation of source, of spirit, of you. You describe it as you wish. And so I'm going to use my favorite cup. Pretend this is a sand pail. And so the ocean is divine. It's the source. It is the creator, right? So you go up to that ocean and you scoop up the water in there. Well, that's still the ocean in there. It's still the ocean. No matter what you think, it's just a small amount of it. And then wherever it goes, it's still the ocean. And that was her way of telling us that our spirit, our soul, is part of God. That's why the idea that we are created in the likeness of. It doesn't mean that God looks like this body or that body or that body or that body. It's the soul. It's what puppets us, what moves us, because it's the soul that moves us. It's the soul that thinks the thoughts and feels the feels, right? The feelings. And you have to remember that you are not the thoughts, you are not the feelings, and you are not the body. You are the soul. And then it kind of puts other things in perspective. And you're like, oh, whoa, okay. It's amazing how self awareness starts real small and it grows and grows and it becomes this all consuming, wow, I just thought that or I just said that. Why did I say that? I know better. Well, that's not really how I feel. It just fell out of my mouth. Yes, Chris, we can do that. We'll have to. Are you on Facebook? And anybody, if you haven't gotten to see Chris, he is. I don't know what the word would be, Chris. So forgive me, but he's a beautiful man that shares his life in a wheelchair and shares. He doesn't hide anything about his life. He's an advocate for supporting people and bringing awareness to how people manage productive lives with the mm, I hope I'm saying it right, but with the challenges that we've taken on, took on. Yeah, something like that. But Chris, go ahead and share your link, and then like I said, if you're on Facebook, um, let me write this down. And anybody that's on Facebook can go look for me. That's me on Facebook. It may have a dot between it. I don't remember. My email is. This is my email. Which should be in my about, I think. Um, but reach out to me, um, and then we can connect. And I'd be happy to start a informative group that would share when Frugal Mama is doing things and when Yankee Southerner is doing things and when I'm doing things and anybody else that wants to participate because they're doing things. Okay, Cruiser, I will go look for you and I will friend you on Facebook. And then we'll just make that little group for us and OG, if I'm sure he's on Facebook. We'll connect there, and then that way there is a platform for us to inform everybody of when we're going live or if we're sending out recordings. Does that work for everybody? Oh, absolutely. How long have you been doing Reiki, Mama? I, I, I got my Reiki master in 96. But I have learned to use a multitude of tools. So there's Reiki and Reiki, which is like an Egyptian Reiki, but it also uses because frequency, right? If you look into the Egyptians and the way they did things, they toned, and then we think about the Hindus uh, that, are doing the mantras, and we think the mantras are words of whatever gibberish or something, but actually toning, it's the frequency, sound. And so instead of using a tuning fork, which is something that I've been, one of these days I will bite the bullet and buy me a set of tuning forks. I was a massage therapist for over 20 years, and never has anybody ever been able to put me asleep on a massage table. Most of the time, my mind is going, okay, too much pressure, not enough pressure, they're going the wrong way, they don't know what they're doing. You know, I dissect it all. But I went to somebody who did tuning forks on me, and I was out like a light. I felt phenomenal. The way the vibration worked on me. Ooh, speaking of vibrations, before I let everybody go, um, if you have a bathtub, you have to try this. I'm getting ready to do a fast. Um, Thank you, Yankee. Uh, I keep, I need a fast buddy because I keep thinking about it and then something derails me and I miss it. I've been really bad about water, and I know that that's my biggest problem. I make a lovely concoction for electrolytes. Um, I'm just gonna have to make me up some. I thought I bought some lemons, and I can't find it. Oh, but yes, I want to do a 36-hour fast, and then go in to a 48-hour fast, and then go into a 72-hour fast. The longest I've done is 5 days. There you go, Chris. Um, but yeah, if you want any words or guidance on the Reiki, just holler. I'm happy to help you with that. Um, but okay, so bathtub. Fill the bathtub up with nice hot water, but not. We're not going to cook lobster, right? You want it to be comfortably hot, but you want to be able to stay in the water for about 20 minutes. And you don't want it super deep, but you want it to where you can sink down and have the water come up above your ears here, because you want the ear under the water. Keep your face above the water. No inhaling water. And then what you do is just kind of close your eyes and sink into the water. And even if you were to sit here and do this, if nobody's listening to you, and put your hands here, you'll notice the difference between when you talk, that the tone changes, right? So you get under the water, da da da, da, and then you tone, and you tone whatever you feel like. If it's ah oh, whatever, you can So here's the cool thing: because of the air in your chest, your vocal cords, everything being under the water. Water is a great conductor. It will create a vibration in the water. And so that frequency, because the vibration you are creating is a frequency, just like if you look at a sound wave, and it will ripple through the water, it will hit the side of the tub, and it will ricochet back. Now, what it's going to do is go through your body. Those frequencies are going to shake up your cells, because you are supposed to be, if you're not dehydrated, um, about 80% water, right? So if you're going to do this little trick, and you're going to love it, um, make sure that you've had a good day of drinking water, and really a couple days to make sure that you've hydrated and you're fully hydrated, because it does make a difference. But so while you do that, and you just lay there and just, oh, and you have it as long as you want to hold it and just keep going and going and going and put a towel up and tell people just ignore me. But just go with the flow, whatever you feel like doing. And you may do three or four at the same note, and then all of a sudden you just go a little higher or go a little lower. Now, here's the cool scientific fact: every organ in your body, along with the chakras, right, our energy centers, respond to specific tones or notes on a keyboard, on the scale. So you may be feeling like doing, I'm just going to say the note C sharp, let's say. Okay? I don't remember if that was key or not, but I'm going to go with kidney. So you're shaking up the kidneys on C sharp, and your heart, I think, is E. Um, I don't remember which the organs are. I'm going to have to go back in and I'll find that, and then we'll have that for a discussion. But know that every organ, so your lungs, your heart, your liver, your gallbladder, your spleen, your pancreas, your stomach, the intestines, the small intestines and the big intestines, your uterus, the ovaries, the testicles, everything vibrates along at a specific note. So when you're toning in the tub and the body, the water is vibrating and carrying that frequency back and forth, because as long as you hold it, it's going to continue to hit the side of the tub and through you hit the side of the tub. And so it's going to keep doing this, right? So you're literally kind of scrubbing your organs and your chakras, you know. And so if you know about um, your energy body and your energy centers, there's more than seven. Um, there's more than 11. Anyway, uh, but you do that for 15 to 20 minutes. When you're done, you're going to be like butter. Just, oh, you feel so relaxed. I've done sensory deprivation tanks, which I thought sucked. It's better than any sensory deprivation tank I've ever been in. It is completely and utterly a full body internal scrub that just makes you feel so good. Then you go to bed. You could meditate afterwards, probably would fall asleep during it. Read a good book, watch something maybe on your little tablet that is uplifting or funny. Funny's good. And laugh before you go to sleep, or nothing, just go to sleep. Um, or call in Ariel, ask Ariel to show up. So try that. It's just in the bathtub. If you don't have a bathtub, I'm sorry. I don't know of any other way. Of course, you could always get one of those, if you live out in the rural areas, one of those metal troughs at the feed store and fill that up with hot water. Just stick a hose to the bottom of your um, hot water heater and fill it up that way. Then you could have the tub. And I bet you that would really ring because of the metal. I know that there's usually some sort of metal in a lot of tubs, but then they've got all that fiberglass now. So I don't know, but it works. All I know is it works. And it is the coolest experience. You don't need drugs to get high. Um, so give that a shot. What else could I share with you to do? Uh, Staying hydrated is important. Um, if you have cream of tartar, cayenne, lemon, cinnamon. What else was there, Cam? You know, there's the lemon juice, and then the sliver of the lemon, and a capful or two of apple cider vinegar, cream of tartar, cayenne. We didn't put turmeric in that one. I'll have to sit down with it and try to remember. But we would take, those 16 ounce bottles of water, and we would empty out about 2 ounces, and then we'd pour in the like a half a teaspoon or a little more maybe of the apple cider vinegar, and then half of a lemon juice, or half a lemon, that would probably be more correct to say. And then we would cut a sliver, like you would do on a martini or something. I guess martini, I don't know. A sliver of the lemon itself, without the meat on it, and drop that in. And then there was Himalayan salt, the cream of tartar, which gives you potassium, and the cayenne, which mimics insulin. Not the cayenne, excuse me, cinnamon mimics insulin. The cayenne opens up the arterial flow. It relaxes the tissues, so the vascular system, so that blood flows. It opens up more. If you're on medication for blood thinners, I wouldn't use the cayenne. And I think we added just a little bit of honey, just to kind of take off a little bit of the edge of the lemon juice and the apple cider vinegar. But that was the best thing for refilling your electrolytes. We used that during the summer, when we were putting down a earth or an adobe floor. That was really good, and it tasted good and refreshing and energizing, and it was really good stuff. But yeah, so I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go over to Facebook when we hang up here, and I will look for you, Cruiser, and Mama, if you're on Facebook, look for me, or because I already gave you the information, and Claymer, if you're still here and your internet is being kind, please look us up. And Paul, tell me where you're at, and I will put us all together and make that little group, and then we can share out everybody's channel that's going to be doing this, that, and the other. This is going to be fun. And then maybe, I don't know, Mama, you thinking maybe Saturday we could start the fast, or do you want to wait? Well, I might be going out to lunch Saturday. I have been jonesing for this Brazilian experience. I want it so badly. We could, or even Monday. If we do our last meal on Sunday at 2:00 in the afternoon, and then fast through. Okay, well, I was looking. I do a lot of research, and one of the things that I've been studying is the right times to fast, when it's most beneficial to sleep, and the easiest way to do it is ending your eating period either midday. You could have like maybe breakfast at 8:00 and the last meal at 2, and then fast until 8. That's 8 and 8, and then 2, so 12 is 18 hours. For starting, for people that were just trying to do intermittent fasting, that would be a great way. And because sleeping through the night helps you not notice if you do have any kind of hunger pangs. And so anyway, okay, maybe we could do that starting like Sunday afternoon, Sunday night, finish the eating at X time, and then see how far we can go, and we can check back in with every. And I'll send you, if I find you on Facebook, I'll send you my cell, and then we can text people to keep us honest. I'm dying here, feed me. Oh, I love you guys. You're so perfect. Thank you for being perfectly imperfect. Cameron, you know that I wouldn't leave you out of nothing. You're my little brother. Okay, let me write that down. I like the name. That's beautiful. Where are you? There you are. There we go. I will find you, and I'm going to hook us all up, and we're going to have fun. Claire, I hope that means you just got back. This was good. Thank you guys. You're so awesome. Here's to helping each other walk our path. So, on that note, blessings to everybody. Namaste. Mitakuwa washin. My heart to yours. I love you. And I will see you tomorrow and probably tomorrow night. Same bat time, same bat channel here. But give me 30 minutes. I will have something going on Facebook. Maybe not even that long. And I will just preface it that the only taboo will be hate speech, judgment, and no politics or religion. Because look at how many Christian religions there are, and they can't agree on anything. I don't want disagreements. I want open minds. I want open hearts, because you might learn something. You might teach something. There's this really cool rabbi, which I can't remember his name, and I love some of his explanations of things, because it's like, wow, now that's cool. You should hear his Adam and Eve story. Is just marvelous, because we got to remember, it's the Jewish people that wrote that stuff. They had it first. Anyway, I love you guys. Sweet dreams when you get there. Hugs. And Cruiser, I will catch you on Facebook and we will coordinate. And please, if you guys haven't had a chance to go check out Cruiser's channel, give him a little love. He's got wonderful soul. And I love his producer. She's awesome. So Cruiser, if you're still here, give your producer my love. Good night, everybody. Thank you. Where's the button? See you tomorrow night. Oh, Mimi, my sweetheart. Mimi, you're on Facebook, aren't you? I think I saw you on, I'll reach out to you on Facebook. We had lots of plans. I've never done 2.5 hours. Okay, I will look for you in there, and then I'll talk to you and whatnot. Annie, if you're here, I love you, baby girl. Sweet dreams. Angela, I know you've already gone to sleep, but I love you. Sweet dreams. Cameron, love you, little brother. Paul, I love you. Thank you so much. Mama, I am so excited for this journey. I love you. Night, night, Mimi. I love you, baby girl. Clémère, wherever you are, I love you. And anybody else that I've missed, Buddha, oh my goodness, you sweet soul. Love you guys. I am pushing the button now. There.